Good everyone, welcome to this video. Today I thought I'd do a review on the H-81 A-2. Now I'm going to say straight off the bat, my throat is not fully better, but my man flu is basically gone. So, other than the throat, I'm alright. So, I'm not dead yet, but we'll have to see how we go. So the H-81 is essentially a P-40B/C. Obviously, I've done the first flight on it already. That went pretty alright. Um, However, excuse me there. As I've already said, in the first flight, it did feel a bit underpowered. And, well, as I was finishing the market distinction on this thing, I saw the digital time traveler, and he saw how fucking pissed off I was at a guy in a P-40E who should have climbed, but no, he went to the left-hand convoy on Zhengzhou, I think you say it as, and he was fucking useless, so yeah. But the plane itself, I don't think it's too bad. It's just, I think there's better stuff in the tree. Now, would I recommend buying the pack? Obviously, Moxie gave me the pack out of the kindness of his heart. Personally, I think you just wait, because, like, you don't have to use the H-81, but at the same time, the tree is... I like the tree, okay? I like the tree as a whole. I mean, there's a couple of stinkers and dogs and all that. There's a dog in it. It's like, my mother always said there may be a, I can't say that word, thinking about it, but there may be a dog on every street, but there's always going to be a dog of a woman set on the street, so there's that. And I'm not saying this thing's a dog, far from it. This thing's really good. But it's just the fact that you have to take time with it. And with the weak engine, the underpowered climb rate, I mean, it's got good guns. I've got to say that. It's got good guns. But in my personal opinion, I just think doing something other than, like, I'd say buy the pack if you're so desperate to fly Chinese aircraft. But if not, just wait. That's my recommendation. Don't buy the pack. I don't think this plane's worth the 20 quid. Because obviously you get 15 days premium, which obviously has run out. And you get just over 1,000 golden eagles. Now, there are some unique planes that some people would want to fly, like the Martin 139, because they may not have the money to buy the B-10, the A-29 Hudson, CW-21, P-66 Vanguard, just to name a couple. But then you've got some stinkers like the fucking Chung 28 and the DB3A, Type 79 Shack, and obviously I'm into rank 4 now. But for the most part, I just don't think the H-81 is just worth that 20 quid, and I'm not saying it's the plane's fault. It's just the fact that I think it's at a BR where it doesn't belong. And I know, like I said, I do apologise. My throat is still not 100%. And essentially, I just think this plane could be bought by someone who's a collector, but otherwise put in the hangar, unless it goes down in BR. Now, why am I saying it should go down in BR? Well, there's one plane at this BR that completely obsoletes it in my mind, and that's the P-40E. It's better in every way. It's got the better firepower. It's got technically more bombs, and in my opinion, I just think the P-40E is just better. Now, whilst I say I'm praising Gaijin for putting a weaker aircraft as a premium, they still haven't fixed this whole XM1 bollocks because people still complain about that, which I don't care about tanks when it comes to high tier stuff. So, yeah, but as far as I can tell, this plane is not pay to win. I don't think this plane is that overpowered. I don't think it's that amazing. If you want pay to win, I'd probably say oh, three's more pay to win than this thing. But I do have to say, this plane is good for its role, but I just don't think people should spend the 20 quid on it. So it's been a while since I've watched this replay that I'm going to show you today, so I do apologize if I screw up. But I just think it's worth it to just like show what this plane can do anyway, even though I may not be the best in terms of remembering. Now, the only thing I do remember about this battle is I get a decent dogfight at the end. But you'll also witness a retard. As per usual, like, I swear. Even, like, I would say the old saying, broken clock tells the time twice, well, right, twice a day, but that doesn't really apply here. So I'm just going to jump to my perspective. Obviously, I was working on grinding other aircraft in the tree. I think I was at rank 3 at this point. I was using the H-81 to not only get the mark of distinction done, ready for a review, but at the same time, I thought I'd kill two birds with one stone and grind a tree out. Obviously, I'll show my stats in the play at the end, just having a cold drink just out my throat. Now, obviously, when I showed in the first flight, this plane has a poor climb rate, and it still does. But obviously, I like the plane as a whole. It's got good performance. It's got reasonable climb rate. I mean, the climb rate's not the best. I mean, MC202s would be far above you before this thing, and this is a mixed game, just to point out. And it's just the fact that I had to resort to low altitude fighting in some cases just to get kills, and I just don't think that's the sort of thing players look for in a premium. I mean, I'd beg to differ with the IL-2 German, also known as Hermann the German, by Hairy Feet, but I just don't think this sort of aircraft is meant for that sort of thing, if you get what I mean. And the reason why I say that is because it's just not the best of planes. I mean, I'm climbing at 140 miles an hour, and I'm having to wet the bollocks off it to get it anywhere. Like, that's not good for a 2.7 plane. It's like the baby buff. No, not the baby buff. Well, I mean, yeah, it could apply to the baby buff. But the big buff, the F2A3, that thing's not as good at 2.3 or 2.7, sorry. And I just don't get why Gaijin have put an aircraft which was replaced by the Wildcat. Well, yeah, it was replaced by the Wildcat, and obviously my voice is dying, as you can probably bloody tell. But I just don't see why that thing's at 2.7 when the Wildcat is just better in every way, in my opinion. So, at this point, I've dove down because I saw AA fire on this little shit, this Lag 335. He's firing rockets at freaking light AAA and stuff. I mean, that's an option, but even so. And the useless retard is already struck in the kill feed. That Ki-61 flown by Ubelon. He's using it as a ground panda. His excuse? He's not good in fighters, so he has to ground pound. And here's a little bit of a friendly jab at a fellow YouTuber. DTT, he's not the best in fighters, but you don't see him fucking ground pounding all the time, do you? He still tries his best. And that's what it's all about. Even if you're not the best at something, you still give it a try. It's like my cousin Neve. She's 6, and she'd always complain that she wasn't the best at dancing. But I'm sorry, she could dance better than I ever could. So I'd just say that to her. I'd say, look, Neve, you dance a lot better than me. Just focus on it. Do something that you want to do in your life. I know I sound like a freaking dad here, but even so. And obviously, it's the same story with his plane. It's not the best at everything, but it's good at speed. Obviously, it's not at the moment, but I've been able to outrun zeros in this thing with little issue. I've been able to outdive most planes with little issue. Simply due to the power and the weight that this thing has, just enables it to dive like a boss. I defo am going to have to do a big cough later, but I'll do it after this recording because you do not want to hear me. And that's me being polite. Trust me, you don't want to hear me cough. So obviously we killed the Lag 3 that you saw earlier. He was an easy frag. He wasn't really that much of a threat. And that retard in the Ki-61, he's actually gone back to the base to rearm his bombs. Obviously, he ain't got them on now because, well, he's got them on, but you just can't see him in the replay. And he's not going to be much use to this team alive. I mean, he survives the game, but as you can see down in the left-hand corner, which you can see over here, again, do excuse the throat, Gustav in his C-202, he's alone. And there you can see a deliberate crash by a H-81 pilot. He went for a bomb drop of all bloody things. I'm fairly certain he did that out of spite because he knew I was above him, but whatever. I couldn't really give any less of a shit. If you want to deny someone, don't make it obvious, is the sort of thing. So obviously at this point, I'm just thinking, okay, Gustav's just been shot down by a Lag 3. He's going to need assistance. Like, well, the rest of the team that's over there is going to need assistance. And obviously with a Ki-43 just going down then, it's not exactly helpful. And obviously this Hurricane over to the right, George Fighter 22, he's not going to help. He's just going to be escorting his fucking Hampton. And to be honest, a Hampton is perfectly fine on its own. Trust me, I've flown Hamptons as fighters. They can handle themselves. But, like I say, it's just, I don't think that this is needed. Like, I don't think this plane is needed at 2.7. I mean, it can compete, yes, and obviously this is a 3-0 game. I don't know why you drag a Hampton this high up, but whatever. I just don't think this plane is worthy of 2.7, if that makes sense. So, I'm basically trying to say, this plane's good, but it could be better if it was at 2.3. Because obviously the guns are limiting, the engine performance is weak on just 100% because it's only about 900 horsepower. And on WEP it doesn't improve by much. But even so. And there you can see Uberline is just ground pounding again, and I'm just like, for fuck's sake, man, just stop ground pounding. And he's not going to stop ground pounding. I mean, I'll show you his stats briefly. Like, he's level 100 for fuck's sake, and he's ground pounding in pretty much anything he can do. Like, this is how he spades, and yet he claims to be a bad fighter, and he can. I mean, he flies jets, but he's worse than me in jets, and that's not a good thing, people. So at this point, I'd spotted a dot, and I wasn't entirely sure what it was. And I just put in chat, Ki-61, stop ground pounding and climb. The Ki-61 is a great fighter, use it, because it is a great fighter. And obviously I couldn't cover it in a review, because, well, my recording software shit itself, as I've already said. Unbeknownst to me, though, that the Fuck Off 200 Condor has escort in the form of this Ki-44 too high. I obviously didn't notice at the time. I'd obviously heard 2 engines, and I thought, well, the Condor's got 4, but you only tend to hear 1 of those. But I could hear a 2nd. So I thought, okay, let's play the waiting game. And luckily for me, a DB3B is currently, well, he's currently about to be dove on by said Ki-44. The Ki-44 is, I believe, this dot right here, if I remember rightly. I'm just skipping us ahead a little bit. So the Condor's over to the right. I couldn't give 2 shits about the Condor. The Ki-44 is priority. And there you go, there's the Ki-44. Obviously, he doesn't know I'm here. At least as far as I know, he didn't know I was here during the time of this battle. I'm just going for the DB3. Obviously, I'm diving in, trying to save the DB3. And, well, the DB3 did one thing right, and that was distract him, so second kill for me. However, here comes the P-36 dogfight, and I'm thinking, okay, fire a burst and get out of its way. And this is where we're going to get into a pretty epic aerial rolling scissors, and, well, if there's one thing the P-36G can do better than this plane, it's vertical fighting. This plane does not do well at it. Now we're getting into some spicy footwork and turning engagements. Now, the P-36G will whoop the arse of this thing in a dogfight, and I knew that. And I was thinking at this point, what do? I've got to try everything in the book to get this guy off my arse, because otherwise I'm dead. There's nothing I can do to shake this hawk. I can't outspeed him, I can't outturn him, I can't outroll him, I can't even outvertical him. So I've got to pull some old tricks out of the bag. Obviously you can hear that my engine is throttled back. I'm trying to force the overshoot. And this P-36, he knows how to try and counter it, but at this point, he blacks out. Obviously, he's got an inexperienced crew, and I'm thinking, right, I've got to take him down now. This is my one and only chance. So I let rip with the guns, and well, in a second, the 50 is going to tear his tail apart, and there you go. And that is the end of him. Third kill. I was very lucky to have survived that. My engine was overheating at the time. Just to point out, this plane does overheat like a freaking trooper. Like, I swear, it doesn't like overheating and all that. But two guys in chat, Freya Cole and Frau Brecha, they say, what a hero, nice shot. Like, they didn't expect me to win that, and to be honest, I didn't think I was going to win that. But as you saw, this plane can do work if it's flown right. And I just think that's the sort of thing that people don't anticipate. But do I recommend buying the H-81 pack to gain early access to the Chinese air tree? I wouldn't recommend it. I mean, if anything, if you're going to buy one the two, in my personal opinion, I think you'd be better off with the M4 Sherman that the Grand Tree gets. Because that thing gets a 50, it's an M4A4 hull, and, well, with the team composition that I've had lately fighting Chinese Shermans, you're going to do pretty well. But for a collector's piece, this thing is certainly unique. Obviously, it's a Flying Tigers P40. You can't beat it. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys off. I'm going to go play around with my mic settings today, see if I can't avoid the inevitable. And I will see you all on the next one.